Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the weekly press briefing of the Foreign Office. Let me begin this briefing with Prime Minister Imran Khan's virtual participation in the fourth session of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Intergovernmental Group of Experts on Financing for Development. During his address, the Prime Minister underlined structured barriers hampering global prosperity and development. The Prime Minister proposed a 5-point agenda to counter these barriers. First, a viable framework for equitable and affordable supply of COVID vaccine to developing countries. Second, suspending debt repayments for the most stressed countries until the end of the pandemic, restructuring of their public sector, and expanding concessional financing through multilateral development banks. Third, a general allocation of special drawing rights of $500 billion to help alleviate balance of payment pressures. Fourth, return of stolen assets held by corrupt politicians and criminals. And fifth, meeting the agreed target of mobilizing $100 billion annually by developed countries for climate action in developing countries. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi addressed the high-level replenishment conference for the UN Secretary General's Peace Building Fund. The Foreign Minister urged the United Nations to address the root causes of conflict, including injustice, inequality, and suppression of right to self-determination of the peoples under foreign occupation in order to build and sustain global peace. Underscoring Pakistan's long-standing commitment to the United Nations endeavors for peacekeeping and peace building, the Foreign Minister recalled that over the last 60 years, Pakistani troops and police had represented the UN in 46 peacekeeping missions across 4 continents of the world. The Foreign Minister also announced a financial pledge as part of Pakistan's contribution to Peace Building Fund (PBF). The Foreign Minister represented Pakistan at the 17th Asia Cooperation Dialogue Ministerial meeting held in virtual mode. Highlighting the devastating repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Foreign Minister underscored the need to coordinate actions, benefit from each other's experiences, and pool resources for responding effectively to the pandemic. The Foreign Minister also emphasized the need for COVID-19 vaccine to become easily and equitably accessible to all. The Foreign Minister held a telephonic conversation with his Chinese counterpart, State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi. State Councillor Yi conveyed China's offer of 500,000 doses of Sinopharm's COVID-19 vaccine to Pakistan by the end of this month. This gesture by Beijing reaffirms the strength of the all-weather strategic cooperative partnership between Pakistan and China. Discussing the progress in China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, both the Foreign Minister reaffirmed their resolve to make CPEC a high-quality demonstration project of the Belt and Road Initiative. The two Foreign Ministers agreed to enhance communication and coordination to further solidify Pakistan-China ties. The Foreign Minister also held a telephone call with his Afghan counterpart Hanif Atma. During the call, matters of mutual interest, including trade and economic activity in border regions, establishment of border sustenance markets, and Afghan peace process were discussed. The Foreign Minister also expressed concern on the high level of violence in Afghanistan and emphasized that progress in the intra-Afghan negotiation would also help reduce violence leading to ceasefire. Assistant Foreign Minister on Asian Affairs of the State of Kuwait, Ambassador Ali Suleiman Al Said, called on Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi. reaffirming Pakistan's desire to forge stronger bilateral relations with the state of Kuwait, the Foreign Minister stressed the importance of deepening and diversifying bilateral cooperation. The Foreign Minister particularly appreciated the role played by the Kuwaiti leadership towards the resolution of differences among Gulf Cooperation Council countries. The Assistant Foreign Minister reciprocated the Foreign Minister's views on further fortifying and solidifying bilateral relations between the two countries. Foreign Secretary Suhail Mahmood held the fifth round of Pakistan-Italy bilateral political consultations with Ambassador Elisabetta Belloni. The entire spectrum of bilateral relations, including fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, political, trade and economic relations, energy, defense, migration and people-to-people exchanges were reviewed during the consultations. Views were also exchanged on regional and global issues of interest. The United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted a resolution titled Promoting a Culture of Peace and Tolerance to Safeguard Religious Sites. The resolution was co-sponsored by Pakistan along with a number of OIC and other countries. Consistent with the vision of Prime Minister Imran Khan, this resolution is part of Pakistan's continuing diplomatic efforts for the protection of religious sites, promotion of interfaith harmony, and combating intolerance on the basis of religion or belief. The international scrutiny of India's global disinformation campaign against Pakistan continues, following the release of EU Disinfo-Lab report last year. The European Parliament's Committee on Foreign Interference in all democratic processes in the European Union, including disinformation, held a hearing on disinformation activities. The hearing by the EU Parliament is an acknowledgement that the international community is taking the massive disinformation campaign and misuse of prestigious platforms by India against Pakistan seriously. For far too long, India has masqueraded itself as a victim of terrorism. It is time that the world saw the reality of India as a state sponsor of terrorism and as a purveyor of anti-Pakistan propaganda globally. Now coming to the situation in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the Kashmiris in IIOJK and all over the world observed the Republic Day of India on 26 January as Black Day. By observing the Republic Day of India as Black Day, the Kashmiris once again made their wishes and aspirations clear. They sent an unambiguous message to the world community that Kashmiris have not and will never accept India's illegal occupation of Jammu and Kashmir. The indigenous movement of the Kashmiri people for their inalienable right to self-determination as enshrined in the relevant UN Security Council resolutions will only become stronger in the face of state terrorism by the RSS BJP regime. Pakistan is also deeply concerned over the continued incarceration and deteriorating health conditions of Kashmiri leaders, including Asiya Andrabi, Shabir Ahmad Shah, Yasin Malik, Masrat Alam Bhatt, Muhammad Ashraf Sehrai, and others. The Indian government, through invoking draconian laws promulgated in IIOJK, has illegally arrested these Kashmiri leaders over malicious, false, and fabricated allegations. Imprisonment and torturing of Kashmiri leaders on the basis of their political ideology and struggle against illegal Indian occupation is a true reflection of the extremist mindset of the RSS BJP regime, which has no respect for the human rights of the Kashmiri people. Pakistan calls upon the international community, particularly the United Nations, ICRC, and human rights and humanitarian organizations to take notice of Indian government's inhuman treatment of the Kashmiri leaders and raise its voice for immediate release of these political prisoners from illegal Indian detention. Independent voices continue to call out India on its systemic violation of human rights in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and minority rights inside India. Human Rights Watch, in its World Report 2021, has highlighted that BJP-led government has increasingly harassed, arrested, and prosecuted right defenders, activists, journalists, students, academics, and other critical of government or its policies. The report has further stated that hundreds of people remain detained without charge in Jammu and Kashmir under the Draconian Public Safety Act (PSA). The South Asia Collective, in its annual report titled South Asia State of Minorities Report 2020, has underscored that India has become a dangerous and violent space for Muslim minorities ever since the ruling Hindu nationalist party BJP came into power. The report underlined that hate crimes against minorities have seen a spike, taking the form of mob lynching and vigilante violence against Muslims, Christians, and Dalits. The report particularly highlighted the human rights violations in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir since India's unilateral and illegal actions of 5th August 2019. Pakistan rejects the launch of Ayodhya Mosque project in India, replacing historic Babri Masjid, which was demolished by extremist Hindu mob comprising Sangh Parivar groups in 1992. The BJP government cannot mislead the world by such fabrications or hide its deep hatred for minorities in India, especially the Muslims. The formal launch of Ayodhya Mosque on India's Republic Day is feigning false pretensions of secularism in India, while the minorities, particularly Muslims, and their places of worship are increasingly under attack. Willful targeting of Muslims is rampant in BJP's India, ranging from its policies of disenfranchising Muslims to the recent increase in targeting of Muslim men under the bogey of love jihad and other anti-Muslim measures like demonizing, dispossessing, marginalizing, and subjecting Muslims to targeted violence. The Organization of Islamic Conference (OIC) has passed numerous resolutions condemning the odious act of demolishing the historic Babri Mosque. At the 47th session of its Council of Foreign Ministers, the OIC called upon the Government of India to take immediate steps to implement its commitment to reconstruct the Babri Masjid on its original site and to punish those responsible for its demolition. Prevent the construction of temple on the site of Babri Mosque. Take immediate steps to ensure the protection of other 3,000 mosques and ensure the safety and protection of the Muslims and Islamic holy sites throughout India. Pakistan once again urges the Indian government to ensure safety, security, and protection of minorities, particularly Muslims, and their places of worship, and fulfill its responsibilities under Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other international instruments of United Nations, including the recommendations of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. We also call upon the international community, the United Nations, and the relevant international organizations to play their role in preserving the Islamic heritage sites in India from the extremist Hindutva regime and ensure protections of minorities in India. With this, I thank you and I'm happy to take any